Anxiety often feels worse at bedtime because the distractions that kept worries at bay all day finally fall away, leaving your mind free to spin. Lying still with nothing to do invites racing thoughts, and if bed has become a place where you lie awake, your body can learn to feel alert there instead of calm. Why does anxiety get worse at bedtime? Bedtime anxiety usually gets worse because the day finally stops protecting you from your own thoughts. All day, work, errands, conversations, and screens keep your attention busy and your worries pushed to the edges. Then you lie down, the noise drops away, and there is nothing left between you and the thing you have been not thinking about since lunch. This is one of the cruelest tricks of a tired mind. The moment you most want stillness, your brain hands you a to-do list, an old conversation, and a catalog of everything that could go wrong. It feels like a personal failing. It is mostly just mechanics. A few of those mechanics are well studied. Researchers who measure what happens before sleep describe two separate kinds of pre-sleep arousal: a cognitive kind, racing thoughts, worry, planning, and a somatic kind, a tense body, a quick heartbeat. People who struggle to sleep tend to run high on both. Bedtime anxiety is largely the cognitive half, switched on at the worst possible time. Why does removing daytime distraction make worry louder? Because distraction was doing real work, and you only notice once it stops. Through the day, your attention is rented out to tasks. Each one occupies the mental space a worry would otherwise fill. Lying in a dark, quiet room removes all of that competition at once. The same thought that flickered past at 3 p.m. now has the entire stage, no exits, and your full attention pointed straight at it. Stillness amplifies this. With no movement and no input, your mind reaches for something to process, and unresolved worries are the most available material. This is why people often say their problems feel bigger at night. The problems did not grow. The space around them did. Why does lying in bed itself sometimes trigger anxiety? Because your brain can learn that bed is a place for being awake. Sleep specialists call this conditioned arousal. If you have spent many nights lying in bed, worried, frustrated, or watching the clock, the bed stops being a neutral cue for sleep and starts being a cue for alertness. The association forms quietly, the same way any habit does. Stimulus control, a long-established behavioral approach developed by psychologist Richard Bootson, is built directly on this idea. The goal is to strengthen the bed as a cue for sleep and weaken it as a cue for wakefulness. That framing reveals the trap. The more time you spend lying in bed anxious, the more the bed itself can start to produce that anxious, alert feeling, even before a single worry arrives. Why does the body feel wired right when it should wind down? Because the stress system does not always clock out on schedule. Cortisol, a central stress hormone, normally follows a daily arc, high in the morning, drifting down to its lowest point in the late evening. That evening low is part of what makes sleep feel possible. When you are under chronic stress, the system can stay switched on later than it should, a state sleep researchers describe as hyperarousal, persistent activation of the body's stress and alerting machinery. That is the physical side of the tired but wired feeling. Your sleep pressure says rest. Your stress system says stay ready. Anxiety lives in that contradiction, and bedtime is exactly when the two collide. One important note: this explains a common pattern. It does not assess your particular situation. Occasional bedtime worry is ordinary, but if anxiety is intense, happens most nights, or spills into your days, that may point to clinical anxiety, and a doctor or licensed therapist is the right person to help. The wind down below is a supportive practice, not a treatment for an anxiety disorder. A wind down anchor you can use tonight. When the mind is spinning, the fix is not to argue with it. It is to give your attention something steadier to rest on. Try this when you get into bed. 1. Lengthen the exhale. Breathe in for a count of about 4, out for about 6. The longer out breath nudges your nervous system toward its rest state. Do this for a minute or two, no straining. 2. Drop into the body, not the head. Slowly move your attention from your feet up to your scalp, pausing a beat at each area: feet, legs, belly, chest, hands, shoulders, jaw, face. You're not trying to relax each part, you're just noticing it. 3. Let thoughts pass without chasing. When a worry shows up, and it will, name it gently: planning, worrying, and return to the body. You will do this many times. That is the practice, not a failure of it. 4. Stop performing sleep. If you are wide awake and frustrated after a while, get up, sit somewhere dim and dull for a bit, and return when you feel sleepy. This protects the bed as a cue for sleep rather than for lying there anxious. The point of an anchor is that it is the same every night. Repetition is what turns it from an effort into a signal your body recognizes. Doing the wind down without the willpower. The hardest part of a body scan at midnight is running it yourself. Your anxious mind is the last thing you want narrating the exercise. That is exactly what a guided session is for. A recorded voice does the structuring, so all you have to do is follow. The Yoga Nidra app has guided body scan and wind down sessions built for this moment. Lie down, press play, and let the practice carry your attention away from the spin and toward the edge of sleep. That is the short version. The full, sourced article and a free guided session to try tonight are linked in the description. Rest well.